we back.
We are back again,
another
man.
And we got a special guest with us.
Very special guest.
And here today, we is with Ashley, assistant of A&R of Atlantic Records. How you doing today, Ashley?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing good, doing good. Look, that sunlight hitting her so beautifully. You see
the melanin
right there.
Listen, I'm in Florida. She making me jealous with the sunlight. Yeah, I got open.
I gotta get some better lighting in the crib, man.
I'm telling you. But how you doing today, though, Sax? How y'all feeling today?
Can't complain, man. It's a nice Sunday morning. You know, been a long week. About to get ready to get into some, Sunday festivities. You already know football.
Yeah, I'm already locked in today. I ain't going nowhere else. Crib, football, 1 o'clock. We good, man. But Ashley, so how you feeling? Tell us about yourself as well, man.
I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a busy morning for me, but everything worked out. So my name is Ashley Anae. I currently attend Clark Atlanta University. I'm a senior mass media arts major with a concentration in television, radio, and film. And I currently hold a position within Mean Street Studios under Atlantic Records. And I assist in A&R, and I also do other hands-on work within the studio.
Okay.
And then senior getting that exposure too. So like let's start off too. Because originally you're not from Atlanta, right? What made you come all the way up north to go to Clark?
Yeah, I'm about to say you some ways from home.
You feel me?
Yeah. So originally back in high school, truthfully, I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do. I was actually in a nursing program that my school offered between my sophomore and my junior year of high school. And literally within my junior year, I was like, this is not what I want to do. I knew that I had a desire to help people, but I knew that there was other ways that were more fitting to me in which I could do the same thing. So growing up, I used to sing and I used to be very involved within music, and that dream sadly kind of came to an end very, very early. So I decided that I wanted to stay within entertainment. And so my senior year of high school, I actually ended up getting enrolled into a performing arts school where I studied film. Okay. And then from that point on, it was, for me personally, I never really liked the feeling of being confined into doing one thing. And so I wanted to find a major that was suiting, that I could be as broad as I wanted to and not really have to feel gauged into one thing. So I started doing research. I ended up coming across mass media, and then I just literally looked up all the schools that offered it. So I probably applied to like 7 schools. I got into all 7. However, I believe 5 out of the 7 were all in New York. The only 2 schools that I had picked out of state were Georgia State and Clark Atlanta. And my school, it was in a predominantly Black and Hispanic neighborhood. However, most of our, teachers and, administrators were white. And so we weren't really exposed to what an HBCU was. So I didn't really know all that it entailed, but I felt like it would be a good opportunity. And then, of course, doing more research, Atlanta was damn near the Black Hollywood. So I felt it would be a really great opportunity for me to get out here and, expose myself to new things, get out of the state. I also have family that live maybe like 45 minutes to an hour away. So it was close enough to where I didn't feel too far away from some form of a home. So that's how.
So I got a question. You from New York, and a lot of people, especially if you're not from down south, like if you living up north, like New York is Hollywood. You know what I'm saying? Like people go to New York to like make their dreams come true. You didn't feel like did you not want to try to make it in New York, or like was it just like trying to see what the HBCU was like is what led you to come down south?
Realistically speaking, it wasn't even about being in an HBCU, honestly. For me, the only reason I didn't choose Georgia State in particular was just because the campus was just a little too big for me. I do really well in smaller settings, especially like having that one-on-one connection with a professor. So, and I also didn't have a car at the time. So it was just going to be a lot for me to try to go and, you know, get acclimated with that. As far as New York is concerned, like I said, I grew up in Long Island, which a lot of people don't like to jack as New York, because living in a borough is definitely a lot different from living in Long Island. I feel like my environment was too small for me to grow, in my own opinion. I feel like I've always been very strong minded, and I never necessarily fell into the crowd. But it was just when you're in a situation where you're constantly seeing the same types of people, you're constantly seeing the same people in general. You've outlived Long Island in itself. It was just definitely time for a change for me. Had I had gone to the city, I probably would have loved it. However, it's very expensive to live in New York.
Yeah,
And
I'm about to say we see that shit every day.
yeah, I knew the kind of lifestyle that I wanted to have. And I also wanted to be like a lot of people who live in New York in particular have never left New York. So like Long Island area, like there's people like my pops and my mom, like they didn't necessarily grow up in that particular area, but like there's a lot of people within their day that have never left. And I just never felt like that was my purpose. I felt like my purpose was to go in different places and explore and just gauge different parts of myself, as opposed to seeing the same types of niggas, you know what I'm saying? Like they was, you know, going to the same community colleges. A lot of people didn't shed far. So it was just like, I wanted to be the exception. You know, I wanted to be a little bit different, see what else I could find. And if I ended back up in Long Island or I ended up back in New York, that's a different story. But I just knew that it was time for me to kind of like spread my wings and get familiar.
I was gonna say that's like real similar to how me and Stacks is, right? So like we from DC, and then DC, just like you said, a lot of people ain't really leave DC, and you feel like you outgrow it because everybody doing the same stuff. Like granted, you grow up and you seeing all the same people, and it's nothing motivating for you to kind of do different. So now it's time to kind of spread your wings and like try to do different things. So like we went to school in North Carolina and T. But then even when we went back home and things of that nature, we knew, all right, this not it. So like that's where while he in the A, I'm in Florida, you know, we knew we gotta branch our wings. We gotta try to explore different things and see the possibilities. Cause like you said, once you stay at home, some people got that at home mentality and it's cooped up in that box. But once you know the bigger picture, then yeah. My question too, right? Cause you said that you were a singer.
And yeah, I swear I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same
thing. I wanted to know, from you was a singer and you said you started, so from a scale to, let's say, I'm not gonna say Alicia Keys, who got, I think SZA got a beautiful voice. And we're gonna put SZA up there for
Are you Jazmine Sullivan?
They're perfect. Jazmine Sullivan, or you were what's the girl with the cabaret thing?
Jocelyn?
Jocelyn. From a scale to Jocelyn and Jazmine Sullivan, where are you at?
I say I'm not even on that spectrum. I feel like, you know, my voice was very different compared to theirs. I mean, I don't have Jazmine Sullivan's runs. I won't even cap with that. But I feel like my sound was just, it wasn't comparable to anybody else, in my opinion. That's how I feel.
I feel that.
Very humble. Now, we got to drink to that Rogan.
Yeah, we gonna drink to that. I ain't gonna lie, I love that Rogan.
Drink.
See, we gonna drink for you, love. We gonna drink for you, man. I just got a little tequila right there, a little sneaky.
Yeah, I got a little mimosa.
Started off for the Sunday, man.
Okay.
So all right, like where was the transition for you though? Because like I'm pretty sure, you know, you pursue singing, you seen yourself having a career in it at some point. When did you realize, like where was that like what was that transition for you?
So I started singing in around like second grade. Like I was part of the chorus and whatever the case may be, and that carried me out till about my sophomore, junior year of high school. I was one of the people, not to toot my own horn, but I was one that they, you know, chose very often for like school events, different community events, just smaller things. At a point, like you said, I definitely did see myself carrying that on as a career. However, I felt very short within myself. I wasn't super confident anymore. And I also allowed a lot of outside energy in terms of, yeah, you could sing, girl, but you know, this is not gonna pay the bills in the future, you know, that kind of setup. So, you know, like I said, I felt very short. I no longer had the same confidence that I once had, and I knew that it probably wasn't something that was gonna carry me for the rest of my life. Will I ever go back to it? I might, but you know, for a long time it was come up with something more practical. And so that's why I got into nursing. I had a lot of family history in nursing. I really wanted to become a nurse practitioner, and I realized it just wasn't my calling. It wasn't for me. I was good enough in high school to, you know, pass classes in science and math, and you know, I was an AB student, but I wasn't good as hell. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wasn't on the type of energy where it's like I want to devote all my life to doing this. It just wasn't that for me. So I would really definitely say between that sophomore, junior year of high school stage, like that's when I was like, maybe singing isn't what I'll start off with, if that makes sense. So that's why I ended up getting into like the film, still within music too, because back in that performing arts school, I definitely took film classes, but I also took, you know, audio engineering, just starting to learn studio settings and stuff like that, so that I didn't stray too far away from it. But yeah, singing, I didn't think it was for me anymore.
See, at least you like smart with the early, like you able to see in the future, like, okay, I know this might not be something practical right now, so let me kind of still stay relevant in that field and do something that can actually like project me things. Because a lot of people be chasing these dreams, like let's say rappers, right? Not saying like, granted, some people gonna make a buzz, some people you gotta work harder for. But if you out here sounding like Ice JJ Fisher, you sounding like somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta understand, all right, maybe this ain't for me. I probably like music, let me kind of dibble and dabble with it, but like understanding at an early age, that's y'all like a lot. So once you got to Clark though, what like was it already in your head? Like, all right, you know what? This is what I want to do. I'm gonna keep working toward that, or like what I would say, what about Clark that kind of led you to the road that you're at now?
So since starting off at Clark, I had no direction necessarily. I chose mass media because I knew it was broad enough to where I can dabble in different things and I had the accessibility to do so. And then on top of that, you know, being in Atlanta, so I knew that if I approach situations the right way, I could find different opportunities. But even still to this day, I'm going to be completely honest, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do when I graduate. And that's not to say I have nothing set up. It's more to say I'm kind of in the mindset of where do I want to start? You know what I'm saying? So being at Clark, their mass media program is phenomenal. I've had a lot of great professors who have kind of did their best to steer me in certain directions. So for my first 2 years, I definitely was really invested in just getting my prereqs done. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that was. And then my junior year is when I started to branch off more into my concentration. So at the time, my concentration was TV and film. And so I was taking courses in that. We had a lot of on-set studio setups on campus and stuff like that. So I was involved in stuff like that. And I was doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes. And truth be told, like, the way I see myself going, I don't really have real intentions of being behind the scenes. I like to be in front of the camera. I like to talk. I could do it for hours, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I have the personality for it. So the importance, the key thing that I learned in being at Clark is that it's very important to try everything and be open to everything. You know what I'm saying? Because same thing with singing, you know, yes, I'm not singing, but I'm still involved within the industry. It's kind of the same thing with TV and film. It's like, you know, granted, you may want to be on the TV, but at the end of the day, you're probably way better working the camera than you are on camera, or you're probably way better at, you know, setting up mics and shit. And, you know, it can steer you in the right directions and put you in the right rooms. That's really what it was. So I didn't really go in with any real expectations. I didn't really go in with, hey, this is exactly what I want to do and I'm going to move forward with it, because I've noticed in life, you know, a lot of things are not going to go as planned. a lot of things are not going to feel right for the moment, but once you get in the swing of things, you know, you might feel different. So I feel like that's really what my experience has been at Clark, is just being given the opportunities to be in rooms and try different things and being open to that.
Let me ask you this. So where did the like where did your interest of becoming, you know, like being an A&R, like how did the relationship get built between you and the A&R from Atlantic?
Right. So once again, it was more of a, actually this story is kind of crazy. So this was last year, my junior year. It was around the ending of last year. So second semester of junior year was really, really hard for me. I had lost myself. I had lost my sense of purpose. I really didn't know what I was doing at Clark. I questioned everything. And 2 weeks prior to me meeting this A&R, I literally was calling my mom like, yeah, I think I'm finna pack it up. I'm about to come home. I don't really know what I'm doing here. And I feel like maybe I need to take a gap year, whatever. And so, like I said, 2 weeks had gone past and I was in my department building. I was coming out with a friend, and this woman and this man had stopped me. And when I tell you they looked so young, like it to me looked like they was either damn near high school students taking a tour of the school or they was with us and I had just never seen them. And so she had stopped me and she was like, hey, like, you know, what's your major? And I'm like, oh, it's mass media. She's like, well, what's your concentration? I told her what it was. And she introduced herself. So her name is Joy Coleman. She currently serves now as an A&R for Atlantic, but she also oversees a studio over at Mean Street out here. And on top of that, she also was an alum of Clark. She also was in the same program as me. And so she asked me what I wanted to do. And one of the things that I really want to do in life is have a radio show of my own. And she said, that's crazy because I used to have one of my own. So literally the same day she was like, I want you to come into the studio tomorrow. And so we scheduled a meeting. And so I came into the studio and she gave me her story and everything. And she said, I want to offer you a position. And it was so crazy to me because it's like, it really is like, when God says it's your time, it's really your time.
Yeah,
So
no,
that period that I was going through, like my junior year, like I said, was pretty shitty for me. And so like going through that, and now randomly, like out of nowhere, this woman stops me. She approaches me. She asks me all these kinds of questions. And now she's offering me a job. It was like, I mean, it could only be one thing. You know what I'm saying? And so actually was, she was working in the studio as an intern under DJ Drama and Don Cannon. And for a while, she was just working, built up herself, you know, took in as much as she could. And now she's serving this huger purpose, you know, doing bigger things, keeping up with multiple streams of income and just little things. And it's just like, she's literally me years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's literally everything that I said I wanted to be, and we're starting from the same place. So it was just like, that moment to me was just like, stay true to yourself, like never give up, because at the end of the day, the hardest work is gonna come, like, and you have to be prepared for certain successes. And so she's been my mentor and my boss ever since. I've learned so much from her. Being in that studio in itself has given me access to a lot of good names in the industry, a lot of networking, which is obviously everything that you need within the music industry, within entertainment period, within anything period. So much like stronger than shit, a fucking piece of paper from a damn degree. But you know, that's really how I came into the industry. As far as A&R, now it's crazy enough, I don't necessarily want to be an A&R, although I'm not opposed. My main position with her is really gearing me towards having my own show in the future as a radio host. But working underneath her, like I said, I'm very open to everything. So I've started getting in tune of what, like, the types of things in her day-to-day life and the things that she does. And I'm just taking everything in, because I'd rather be a jack of all trades and be able to do anything in any room than be so focused and so tunnel visioned on doing one thing.
See, I think that's actually smart too, because like you having that knowledge and like, all right, you know what, this is a good opportunity. Like maybe this is not like my ultimate goal, but me being here right now is gonna allow me to build the connections, learn what I need to do, grow, and like then once I'm ready, I could branch off and do everything else. But like being in that position and soaking it in, a lot of people don't understand that. Like I was just looking at it was an interview with it was like Simba in the Breakfast Club. He was like, I knew I wanted to be in a rap game, but I knew my time wasn't right there. So if I had to hold a nigga bag, yeah, I held his bag. If I gotta be the man to pull up to the studio and just give weed out or something, just bring the laughs. Like they just having a bad day, I just coming in just laugh. It's not more so like, oh yeah, like I know the bigger picture. It's not more so my pride getting in the way or anything of that nature. It's like me being able to be accessible, being an asset to everybody, soaking
Right.
as much. And then once that come in, wow, like for one, you gonna learn and you gonna have that knowledge already. And then secondly, you already, like you said, that connections, it's already gonna be built in your network. So at that point, when you do need something, you wanna like expand on something, especially let's say like your radio personality job. Once you get that, and I know you will, I'm gonna put that manifestation out. You gonna have that role.
Yeah, we manifest over here. Okay, radio
Yeah,
station come,
hey,
radio
you
show.
feel me?
Yeah.
We gonna manifest that. So like
Right,
once
right,
you
right,
get that,
right.
she got her whole network already because you already was in the backgrounds talking to these artists, you knowing, okay, who the new artists about to come up. You get them before they blow, bow. Next thing you know, and there's more buzz for you. So I think that's just like all the smart stuff. So
I
like,
think
I'll go ahead, my bad.
my bad. I was just gonna piggyback on that. I feel like a lot of the times people um prioritize like just doing one thing because like it's the norm. You know, like we always talk about that. Like it's normal for somebody to like focus on one thing, you know, try to be good at it, try to be successful at it, you know. And a lot of the times, yeah, you may be successful, you may like achieve some kind of success, but you never know how good you are until you try something else. You know, like you don't even know how good you could be at something unless you try it. So like limiting yourself because I guess it's like you know traditional the norm is just doing a disservice to yourself at the end of the day. I'm trying to tell you it's a lot of the times you know, somebody has just opened my eyes to certain things that, you know, I might not have necessarily done on my own or took that chance, you know, by myself. But then I realized, like, wow, you know, I actually like this, so I'm interested in this, or shit, who knew I was good at this? You know what I mean? Like, that's just the beauty in exploring life for real.
See, and
Right.
my one thing I was gonna also ask too, right? Because let's like, especially with you meeting all like these celebrities, and then you in Atlanta, and right, I've been to the homecoming, and I've seen how it gets crazy. Like not just with regular people, but you got the whole city and celebrities just coming on out. Like, is it hard not to get caught up in that fast life in the A, especially being in college? Because like we had the privilege where it's like we had a college city in our college, so it's like you ain't got too much going on. Homecoming the only time where it's like really busting for us to do.
Yeah.
But other times it's just like we going to bars, clubs, it's real chill. And the A, it's stuff going on every day.
Popping.
So, personally speaking, which may like contradict everything that I do, I'm really not the nightlife, like get lit every night kind of person. I feel like being out here kind of spoiled that for me in a sense because between my senior and really my junior year, because truthfully, when I first got to Atlanta, that was 2019. So fall semester I was here, but spring semester into my sophomore year, we was gone because of the pandemic. So I can really attest to, you know, like I said, fall semester, freshman year, and my whole junior year. And because everything is so redundant, it started to become annoying. Like to me, like it was just like every night there's a fucking party. Every night there's an occasion, there's a situation going on, and realistically, everything just starts to be like become the same. Like if you miss a party, you're not missing anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you could go to the next one. So for me, it was just like it got really old really fast. And truthfully speaking, like I haven't really been pressed to like go to certain functions and stuff like that, just because I know if there's a connection that's supposed to be made, it's going to be made regardless. You know what I'm saying? So it really hasn't. I haven't really gotten tied up per se in the fast life, just because I've decided to take the step back and slow down myself. But I can see how people can really get caught up in it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fun, it's exciting, I guess. But you know, when you've done it and you've outlived that experience, it's kind of like you could do that anytime. You know what I'm saying? So I really say that I've fallen into it too hard.
I see, and that's at least you got that because like with me, especially coming in, well, my freshman year of college, I was doing a lot, and I just hear a lot of horror stories about people going down that way. They
That
got
nigga said horror
everything,
stories,
and
man.
it is not
I
because
mean,
you
they
know,
do be sad.
it do. It be like it get to the point where somebody go down there and they mess up, and then sometimes like they grades slip up bad, and it's like you paying for that school. That shit expensive now. That shit ain't cheap. That shit is for the high. So now you staying the extra year, extra 2 years. Hey, that's a horror story when you get that motherfucking bill, that student
It's,
loan check. Well,
it's
go ahead, Kev. I can see you.
I was just gonna say, nah, being in Atlanta young, is hard, man. Especially when you're trying to find yourself. But I think staying grounded is like you're doing a pretty good job with that. You know what I'm saying? Understanding like how to maneuver. I think that's the biggest thing. Because um I was gonna ask this as far as like when you're like what does an A&R look like in 2022? Because you know, like before A&Rs, like before all the digital media and streaming and all that stuff, you had to actually go out, hear artists, you know what I'm saying, get their demo tape, all that stuff. So like what does it look like in 2022? Like do you just go online and just find like I don't know, I'm just curious. Just
so artists. So realistically speaking, it is like you said, in a sense, a lot easier to go about that situation than it was back in the day, trying to, you know, send somebody a demo tape or a CD or whatever the case may be. So yeah, a lot of it is online. A lot of it is, you know, so Joy Coleman is actually originally from Philly. So she still has connections to Philly. There's a lot of niggas trying to come up in Philly, and she's very attentive to, once again, I feel like everything within this industry involves being open. So if she hears some chatter going on about, you know, some artist, or she knew somebody that she actually grew up with who's trying to start this career off for themselves, she spends a lot of time, you know, going on YouTube, doing her research, listening to their stuff. It's a lot of listening. And obviously she knows more than I do. She's been in the game a little bit longer than I have. So it's just sometimes, well, it's not even sometimes, they have an ear for something that I don't have an ear for. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll hear something off rip and say, this is gonna go X amount of years. This is gonna go just as far as so and so, or this ain't gonna go so far. So it's a lot of tedious work. It's a lot of getting in touch with people. YouTube is going to be your best friend in anything that you do, and that's damn sure your best friend when it comes to being an A&R. Also, just little, it's a lot of hearsay, you know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
then doing it's a
I was
lot of
just gonna
hearsay.
ask too, like, say if is it a clout based thing? Like, do you think like if somebody has a lot of clout, is that more somebody you're inclined to like give a chance to? Obviously, or if say if you hear somebody who's just like you think they hard, but
They got
like
like
don't
100
nobody know them
followers.
right now. Like, is that somebody like do people still give people like that a chance? Like, how does it work?
Absolutely. I feel like, personally speaking, I don't think that it's at all about clout, because there's a lot of niggas who get clout off of one song, and that song is the only song that they'll ever create that's really gonna be a hit.
Right.
Not even just that, but it's not even just always about sound. It's about how they present themselves, how they could work in certain settings and stuff like that. So there could be somebody who she may feel is hot, and you know, she gives them the attention that they need, she grooms them to where they need to be, she, you know, gets them engaged and stuff like that, and they'll blow up bigger than somebody who may already have 20 followers. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right,
it's
right.
all about, it's way more than the sound. Of course a lot of it has to do with that, but it's way more than that for sure.
So my question, like, and I know you like listen to the sound of the music, but do you also have to like look into like the background of like what they're dealing with and stuff. Cause you can kind of see like certain artists, especially with Atlantic, you'll have like the Thug, Gunna, right? We know their situation. And then you got like Young Boy. Well, he's I don't know his legal situation, whatever the case is, but you got rappers like that who either have a history of like engaging in the trouble or whatnot, or like, they just in that type of world. They produce great music, but then it's the legal troubles that might have to come into effect. Is that like, I guess, play any major role into like trying to pursue that artist, or it's just like, you know what, they got the talent, we can take the chance.
Right. So as far as I've seen, and like I said, like I can only speak from my experience within the
Correct,
industry
yeah.
on, too much because I'm still getting familiarized with myself. However, from what I've seen, let's be realistic. A lot of great rappers have stories to tell. A lot of great rappers have been in some fucked up ass situations, which really in turn makes them who they are today. So granted, a lot of times it is harder because they do fall into legal trouble or whatever the case may be. But from what I see, if an artist is good, an artist is good. You know what I'm saying? Like I know a couple people, who I've seen within the studio who I'm actually kind of close with, like their managers and stuff like that. And if you hear their stories, it's kind of fucked up. But at the end of the day, the music industry is about the music industry. You know what I'm saying? It's not, about the legal troubles. I mean, granted, a lot of them have great lawyers. You know what I'm saying? So like that part really like attests to that. Our main focus within A&R is art, like development. You know what I'm saying? Like, can we take them from this situation, allow their music to really surface, and then bring them up out of that? That's kind of hard to say, truthfully, because even people who have money and make it out the hood or whatever still have ties to the hood. At the end of the day, that's where they're from. Their families is probably still there. Their friends are still there. So regardless of the fact, it's still gonna be like, I'm here, yes, but I still got hella shit going on over here. So you're never really gonna fully pull a person out the hood. You're never really gonna, be able to make that drastic change. You can do things to help the situation, but you can't really, bring a person out of that. So at the end of the day, it's like, if you're turning away a person for their background or the way that they were brought up, you're turning around everybody. In essence, if you really think about it.
That's facts.
Everybody has a story. Everybody has the shit that they're going through. And granted, shit might be a lot rougher, a lot harder for certain people. But do I really turn somebody away for going through what they went through to survive, to make it out for their family, to next, like, provide them a better situation? Like, do I really do that? I don't think so.
See, and I feel like that's important why people from our culture understand that. You know what I'm saying? Because this is how you broke it down. That's how we would look at it, as opposed to like, let's say like they hire somebody that's not from the culture, right? A white A&R, whoever the case is. You have them come and listen to that art, and you see all that. They won't really understand. Like, you know what? Of course you'll go through this if you're not given all this in the beginning. Like if you trying to survive out here, you're gonna go through these type of complications. That's the only way you was taught and stuff. So like, hey, it's smart. I'm glad there's like people out here that kind of look at it from both spectrums and stuff. And then another question I had too, like this, and you could just speak on it from like you seeing how your mentor interact with people as well as how you even interact with like people in the game as well. Being a female A&R, like a woman A&R, does that kind of like, is it different being like, are you being mistreated as like a male that's in the game, or like how they approach you? Because I know at times dudes, especially like entertainment, right? They see a woman and they think like, okay, well, we can kind of like,
they don't try to keep it business oriented.
Yeah, they don't keep it business. They try to push their limits to see what they can handle because they think that they the hot stuff. Is it like, are you guys mistreated in any type of way? That you've seen so far? And like, if you are, like, how do you kind of set that line? Like, hold up, give me the same respect as that man too.
Right. So what I will say, like I said, as far as my experience is concerned, so there's my boss, who's Joy, and then there's somebody over her, and she's actually also a Black woman. So I feel like at the end of the day, in this society, as a Black woman in general, you're gonna have to prove yourself. You're gonna have to go through trials and tribulations and, make yourself at the end of the day, your biggest work is going to be within yourself. If you push yourself and you do everything that you're supposed to do and then some, you're confident within everything you do, you know that you're the baddest, even if shit, you act like it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you walk in with a certain kind of confidence to you, a lot of people can't fuck with you, especially if you have a background to reflect everything that you've done so far. You have this artist, you've done this piece of work, you got in this award. People can't deny certain things, whether they want to or not. So I feel like, as far as I've seen, like, there's a lot of women within the industry who have created a path for me that I've seen personally, like, have been in my face at the studio or whatever the case may be. Like, it's very rewarding at the end of the day to be able to have male perspectives to say, ah, damn, she's a woman, I don't really know. And then really show them, like, oh, you thought this is what this was, but it's not what it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's way more to it. It is a lot of proving yourself. And I'm sure my boss in particular probably had to go through way more shit back in the day. But because she's really establishing herself and she's really grounded, and she also knows what the fuck she's talking about, and if she doesn't, she damn sure makes it sound like she does.
Right.
A lot of people, as far as I've seen, as far as I heard, a lot of people don't fuck with her. So I could definitely say, in any industry that you get into, there's probably going to be those situations where you're going to have to put in a lot more work than the next person. But at the end of the day, even if you don't receive a physical award, that reward that you're going to feel at the end of the day to say, yeah, they really tried to stop me, but I still got to the bag, I still did what I had to do, and I'm showing out.
Right.
Then, you know, you got it, you know, like, you're that girl, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, firsthand, I haven't had anybody treat me otherwise. Do I feel like I have to do a little bit more sometimes? Of course. But nobody's ever really given me that negative notation to say they don't have faith in me because I'm a woman or because I'm a Black woman. No, I haven't had experienced that.
And I think that's funny too, because like how you said, once you start talking like you like even if you don't know it, that you do know it or something, or you gonna make sure that you got that information, like that just go like a long way. Because even with me, I was an engineer, and like, you know, I'm younger, especially I'm Black. I'll be talking to all these like older white folks. They'll kind of like talk. This is I'm younger. They'll be kind of talking like I don't know my stuff. Like, I had a meeting where I said everything right, but my confidence wasn't there. Like, I wasn't stern with it. I said everything that was like legit, everything right. Then they were like, nah, we want to talk to the senior guy, X, Y, and Z. He get into the meeting, he says word for word what the fuck I said. And they just respect it, word for word. And I'm just like, so I'm mad. And like he even know how like I get when I'm mad, I'm just thrown off. And then he had to explain to me, like the senior guy, he's just like, it's not about like what you say, it's how you say it. Like, once you like you be stern and like you confident with it, then they gonna understand, like, all right, even if you wrong, that's the law that you just laid down. You gotta live by that. So like I had to learn that at the early age. Like, look, no matter what it is in the position, just be confident in yourself. And if you mess up, be confident that you can be able to fix that. Because either or, that's what's gonna
is to make or break a situation. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's really what it boils down to. I could sit here and talk my ass off about something that I don't know, but you're gonna think that I'm the smartest person on the topic because of the way that I presented myself, the way that I upheld the conversation. As long as you don't fall short and saying like, damn, I did fuck up, but he ain't gonna know that. Like, as long as you keep that, bro, you'll be straight. Promise.
And I think my last thing I have is like, what is something that you just want people to take away from your journey? Like, I know it's still being written, but just like from where it is right now, because
right now you doing a great job right now.
Yeah, like I really think you, even like, though, and I know how it feels like feel like you don't have it all together, because none of us do. Like, you know what I mean? Even like we only a little bit years older than you, but should I still feel like how you feel right now? I'm gonna be honest. Right. But the thing that I have done, or I will continue to do, is what you're doing right now, is just try. You know, at the end of the day, like you one thing that you don't have to necessarily worry about is time. Like, it's gonna continue to go on. Like, things will get better, things will, like, you'll gain new experiences, you'll learn new things. You're gonna take some more L's, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna make more mistakes. All of it is a part of the process. And I feel like to understand that, like where you at right now, I know you're gonna do far. Like I know you're gonna go far. Like for real. Like, I know that like things will like always end up in your favor just because like you're willing to just give it a shot.
Thank
She
you, thank you.
sound like you just answered her question for her right there. But
I
that
was
was
about to
good.
say,
Oh,
I
I was
was
just
literally about to say that. I feel like he
I was-
just said everything for me. That's definitely what I want people to take away from my journey. You know what I'm saying? Like, even up till recently, like I was in the same position that I was in April, May, right before she met me, like a very dark and clouded place to where it's just like, am I doing this the right way? You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, you're never gonna have a straight answer. That's like my biggest takeaway from everything is you're never gonna have a straight answer. If certain things don't feel right, sometimes they just ain't right. Just believe in God's time and believe in yourself more than anything. I feel like that's one of the biggest things that I'm working on right now is just having the faith and the confidence within myself to say, I'm going to persevere regardless of my situation, regardless of how I'm feeling about myself, regardless of the day that I'm having. You know what I'm saying? Just being open. I feel like this shit should be titled being open. Like just allowing it to happen, allowing yourself to experience and be indulged in a lot of different things. And that's I was just speaking to somebody's manager a couple days ago, and that's one of her biggest takeaways too, is just like be a jack of all trades, bro. If you have that and you're solidified in that and you put in the work and the effort needed to understand, and I mean like really understand and internalize everything that's going on around you, first of all, nobody could fuck you over. That's one. You know what the fuck you're doing. You know what you're talking about. And it just brings so much more peace to you because it's like, if this shit doesn't work out, then I have so much more to fall back on.
Mhm.
So that's all that this game is. It's just staying involved, staying relevant, not in the sense of being clout driven or everybody knowing you, but being relevant to where you know everything that's going on. You know your surroundings well enough to say, once again, if this shit don't work out, I got 10 more things behind me. If this stream of income don't work out, I got 10 more things behind me. If my passion is changing, that's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like it's supposed to work out that way, especially not only in your early 20s, but in your 20s, like in general. And that's another thing that I'm coming to understand is nobody knows what the fuck you're doing. Like you just said, nobody knows what they're doing.
Nobody does.
It's about delivery. It's just about staying true to yourself and having enough faith in yourself and even in God to say, I don't know if this is for me, but I'm gonna try it. And if it ain't, I'm gonna try something else. Just being driven. You have to be driven. That's it. That's really all you can do. That's all that we really have control over. That's another thing. Stop trying to be so in control of every little thing that you do. Nothing works out to a T at all. You could plan it out for years, and the day that you started, it may not work out the way you thought it was. But in fact, it's probably better off that way. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm realizing. It's probably better off that way.
Man,
There's-
hey, you drop it. Hey, you
She-
talking your
she
talk
ended
right
us
there.
with a gem. Ended us with all gems, man.
Cause not honestly, like you said, it is better off like being that way because if like being off, I would say going through the rocks and going through all the challenges, it help you grow. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you want to get to a certain part, you got to build that foundation. And the only way you build that foundation is by going through everything where it's not working out and where you kind of can see, where you can kind of think and you challenging yourself. You can only grow when you put yourself to the best challenges. If you too complacent, you'll never grow. You'll still stay stagnant to where you are. But once you start putting yourself in those situations where things won't go wrong, things won't go right, and if just like you said, it might not go right, but those are the things that you may need so that you can go to where you want to go. So,
Absolutely.
listen, man, it was been a pleasure even to talk to you right now.
Yeah, this is a great episode.
Ashley,
Thank you so much.
Listen, once you have that radio, so we want to come talk on your
Yeah, I'm about to say
radio.
we gotta be one of the first guests, okay?
No,
listen,
for
don't
sure.
forget about us, man. Don't forget about us, man.
For
But,
sure.
but people, hey, look, man, another episode, Rogue Soul Podcast, man. Everybody, enjoy y'all Sunday. Enjoy this beautiful.
Enjoy
Sunday.
y'all Sunday,
Enjoy
man.
this Sunday, man. Look, it's Deece,
Stacks.
and we got Ashley right here. Go ahead,
Yes.
Ashley. Last word for him.
I don't got no more words. I done talked y'all ears off enough. Thank you so much for bringing me on. I really appreciate it. It's my first interview in this life, in this position right now. So
it's gonna be first of many. First of many.
Thank you.
All right, man. Bro, Sells, we out.
All right.